staying with us. This is Monday Special. Our hashtag is Monday Special KE, or you could talk to us using SMS number 22422. We're getting your messages and I'll be reading them out. Before that, let's take a look at your tweets. Our topic this evening is life after KCSE. If you've just completed high school, what options do you have before joining university or college? Somebody here is saying they should engage in agricultural activities, being the backbone of our economy. It will nurture them to be independent persons in future and not become white-collar job seekers. This is Barmasa. Stefan Fabio saying engage in community service and nationhood activities to enhance life skills and moral culture. Chalo, you're saying I'm a Form 4 leaver, class of 08 and attained a C+, and I do hawking business to cater for my needs and my elder brother's fees. So that's our topic of discussion this evening. Once again, just reminding you that if you just finished Form 4, that is, if you sat for last year's exams and are now waiting to transition to university or college, or even wondering what to do if you did not achieve that mean grade that is required to get admitted into university, then that's our topic of discussion this evening. We're going to be giving you tips on what you can do in the interim before joining college, and if you will not be joining, what you can also do, what options you have out there. My panelists in studio have got a very interesting panel this evening, mostly comprising young adults. These are guys who just finished their Form 4, and I'll start on this end with an introduction. June, you did not just sit your Form 4 exams, you cleared the year before, so give us a brief intro of who you are and where you went to school.
Right. Thank you, Lillian. I'm June Musyoka from Molala Girls High School. I cleared school in 2016.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Victor Mwenda. From Kidioko Secondary School. Just cleared school last year, 2017.
Last year, which is 2017 on this end?
Thank you, Lillian. I'm Joshua Mwangi. I cleared school last year at Moi Forces Academy, Nairobi.
Yeah. Okay, karibu sana. And finally, in studio, we're also joined by a HR managing consultant who will be guiding you on some of the choices you made. Remember, Form 4 is not too early to start thinking about future career options and career choices. And we've got an expert here in studio. And lady?
I'm Gina Wagema. I'm a managing consultant, Bloom Africa HR Consultants Limited.
Okay, so I'll start with you, June. You're all very welcome. I'll start with you. Since you've had a year of high school, tell us what you did after high school. What activities were you involved in, and why did you choose those particular activities?
Actually, after I left Form 4, I joined campus immediately. I went to African Nazarene first, and then the course that I was taking wasn't pleasing me, you know.
What course?
I was taking business management, and that's not my field. And I really wanted to do mass media. So before then, I used to make stuff. I draw very much. I make flowers out of paper. I recycle stuff and the like. So during that time, of course, I had 1 month, 2 months, like that. Before joining campus, I used to do that. I used to actually sell them. My mommy helped me to sell those stuff to guys and advertising them and the like. So at least I was busy doing.
So you were actually making money off your talent.
Yeah.
And who guided you towards this direction? Who guided you towards or advised you that you should, instead of just sitting home, actually engage in some type of income generating activity?
Okay, my mom saw it in me and she was like, why don't you try this before you go to school, you know? I didn't find it serious at first, but from how things are going, I felt that this maybe was my thing.
Okay, so you say you were in African Nazarene University. The transition between you finishing Form 4 and going to school, how long did it take for you to actually get into university?
Oh, I joined university January.
In January?
In January, actually, okay. I remember.
So your lot was a little bit different. This time round, as you are well aware, for the second year running, private universities and colleges have been thrown into a crisis for lack of students. Just 11.5% managed the minimum university entry qualification of a mean grade of C+. So there's a lot of Form 4 leavers who are home and not really sure about where they'll be transitioning to because they did not achieve that. They did not attain that mean grade of C+, but we'll be getting into that. Before that, Victor, to you, you've just finished Form 4. So your story is different from June's. What are you doing currently? December is over, I'm sure. I don't know, are you thinking of doing something? Are you still in that frame of mind where you just want to chill and relax? What are your plans? What are you doing?
Okay, currently I'm not doing anything but thinking about something.
What are you thinking?
My mother comes from Meru. My father is a Kamba, so I thought of bringing potatoes to Machakos. That is taking them from our farm at Meru and then sell them at a price, because at Machakos the prices are relatively higher than Meru.
So you're thinking of an income generating activity.
Yeah, but a short goal.
Short goal. Do you have any plans to transition to university or college? Did you attain that grade that is needed to get into college or university?
Yes. I attained the grade, and think I'll be joining in September.
In September.
But before joining, I think that was my idea.
Okay. So do you have an investor? Where do you plan to get the money to sell the potatoes?
The potatoes are currently from our farm.
Okay.
Transport, I think my parents are somehow able, so they can pay for that.
Okay.
And then the profit, plus the profit I can still do.
Have you had this conversation with your parents? Are they aware that this is what you intend to do?
Yes.
And are they being supportive?
Yeah, they're supportive, but at first I was thinking of doing the same and then changing, because I have a hobby. I like photography. And so I wanted to buy a camera for the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So Victor here has an interest. He likes photography, but he also wants to make a little bit of money on the side. So he's thinking of selling potatoes from his parents' farm, and that is, of course, brilliant. To you, Joshua, let's talk about your story as well. You just finished Form 4.
Yes.
What is your immediate game plan? What are you thinking?
I'm doing nothing currently, but I intend to begin my computer classes and driving by next week. And then by mid-March I intend to start an income generating activity where I have a friends who mobilize. We have a heart for the environment. So what we are going to do, we are going to be collecting plastics, and in turn we are going to make these plastics usable, and we recycle them. We could make pens or plastics that could last longer, like buckets or something.
Talk to me about your experience after finishing Form 4 in terms of your options for university and where it is you would like to be placed. Has that been seamless? Has it been frustrating? Are you clear on what direction you're taking in terms of school?
I wanted to do medicine at the University of Nairobi, but I got a B. I've not changed my plans. I'll still pursue the same. I've been checking with Moi University, Nairobi University, and Kenyatta University. I'm waiting for the clusters to be released, and then I'll know whether I'll still proceed with the same. In case that fails, I'll take a course in environmental management and continue with my environmental work.
Okay. Thanks for sharing all your individual stories. Ngina, let me come to you now. And I want to start with the fact that, we're looking at statistics here that actually indicates that 11.5% of those who sat their KCSE are the only ones that managed the minimum university entry qualification of C+. Joshua's story here, he did very well. He got a B, but he'd like to do medicine. That there's a challenge that lies therein, because that's not the grade that's required. So for students, let's begin with those who actually want to pursue certain degree courses but are not able to do so because of this mean grade requirement. What are the other options? What can they explore without saying that, no, you cannot do medicine or you cannot do engineering because that's not the grade you attained?
One of the things that have come out very clearly from the just concluded grading is that for me as a consultant, we find that we feel or we believe that from now on we'll start getting really good quality students and people being placed where they are actually supposed to be. And actually, we listened to Joe Musheru some time back, and he was talking about our economy being able to absorb students or people who have technical skills, because that's where we are actually heading to. We're looking for people who can maybe build roads, who can drive trucks, who can help the economy grow forward from an operational standpoint. So for most students, it's going to be, the transition is going to come, but it's going to be gradual. But we're going to get to a point where these other roles are going to be appreciated and are going to make a difference in the economy and in where we are heading to.
Right. And for some parents at home, they're already writing in and saying, look, I might want to place my child, at driving school or for a computer course, or for a relevant course in one way or the other, but I don't have that money. Is it too early for a Form 4 leaver to start venturing into the job market, to actually go into the job market and start seeking job opportunities?
No, it's not too early. And actually, it warms my heart as a parent and as a recruiter when I hear students who are going out there, who have just finished university and are willing to go into the job market, either as self-employed or even looking for internships, or as my colleague here talked about environmental. They're doing voluntary work. It's not too early to start developing those skills that are needed to sustain you in the job market.
Right. And June, back to you. You talked about being in Nazarene, and a lot of people end up falling out of their respective degree choices because somewhere along the line you realize this is not really what I wanted to do. You say you were very interested in doing mass communication, were not happy with the course you were taking. So what alternative did you pick, and are you on course with your mass communication choice of study? Where are you at now?
All right. Yeah, I did something. After we did the last exam, I didn't want to go back there. So it was now my time to face my parents and tell them that I'm not comfortable doing this and I have to really do what I want. And everyone knew that I wanted to do mass communication. So there and then they really had to, because I was not doing it for them. I'm doing it for myself. You don't study to impress someone, you study to make a future for yourself. So when I told them, they told me then, all right, we have to check another school. So I shifted to Nairobi Aviation College, where I'm taking mass communication right now. And
back to you, Ngina, once again, the pressure from parents and teachers I mean, if Joshua, for instance, is an A student, then his mentors in school or his parents are probably telling him that medicine is probably what he should do. I don't know the percentage of young adults who actually choose these degree courses themselves. Is it dictated upon them, or what is the importance of actually following your heart in terms of what it is you want your degree course to be?
Well, I can relate to that, because eons ago, when I was in Form 4, and I also wanted to do mass communication, but my mom was categorical. You do mass communication, you get yourself a job. So I decided to do business administration. However, today things have changed, and I think the youth are more enlightened than we were, and you're more aware of what you want to do and what you need to do. It is extremely important to do something that you actually enjoy, because even if you get into the job market and you've done your medicine and you didn't want to do medicine, you'll probably work for a bit and you find yourself moving into the area where you actually wanted to go. So I'd say that right from the word go, if you feel that you've got an interest in a certain area, go for it. And that's why it's important to actually do some of these technical skills, like computer, get as much exposure as possible, because at some point you'll realize, I wanted to do this, but I'm actually more interested in this. And so you pursue an area that you're interested in, and you avoid that time wastage and the confusion before you actually get to where you want to be.
Joshua, for you, your story, you have two options. You want to do medicine. If that's not going to be possible, you talked about doing something to do with the environment. Do you feel frustrated sometimes, and who is guiding you with these decisions? Is there help that's available for you as young adults in terms of these questions, for those of you who actually are really finding yourself in a catch-22 situation where you've got these options but you really don't know what direction to take, who is guiding you along this process?
I talk to my parents every time I feel like, for example, last week we checked, I wanted to check, so I went to the University of Nairobi School of Medicine at Chiromo, and I was making an inquiry whether I can still do the same medicine or now self-sponsored. But I'm still waiting for the clusters. If that doesn't be, I still ask my cousin, a cousin of mine who's a doctor. I asked him on the way forward. He's told me that he's making an inquiry and he's going to get me the clusters. But he told me to remain focused on my passion and what I want to do.
So for you, your passion is medicine.
Medicine.
Back to you, Victor, as well on the same issue. You're talking about photography being your passion, and in the interim, before you start doing your thing, you want to sell potatoes to earn an income. Who is guiding you along this process? Who do you talk to when you have these questions about what it is you should do in terms of this transition period?
Okay, I talk to my mom. My mom is a good guider, and so it gives me ideas when we are talking together. And for potatoes, actually for potatoes, I'm trying to create just a small income to cater for my college fees, as she said. Nataka kupumzishwa mzigo wa fees, you see. And then I can also buy a camera for the income that I'll get. And then after joining campus, I can do photography.
Right.
Yeah.
For you, back to you, June. What are some of the challenges that you've observed as a young adult in terms of career guidance, and in terms of also just options of universities? And for instance, you want to do mass communication, and as Mina said here, the first reaction from her mom was, if you want to do mass communication, then you'll find yourself a job. So it's fine and dandy to want to take a certain route in terms of your degree choice, but then again, when you look at the future prospects, is this an employer, are the job opportunities there in this line of business? Is it going to be, you know, a good income for you in the long run? Who guides you along this way? Who has been your number one person that you go to in terms of career choice and all these questions that you might have surrounding your future?
Okay, when you look at mass communication is not all about news anchoring. We have other departments that you can major on, you get? So when I want such things, I go to my sister. She tells me about it. She tells me what to do because she has been through college. She has done this and this, and she knows what's right for her. So she taught me what she did there. She's a successful lawyer, so I have to look up to her. I want to be successful. I want to make a good future. So yeah. So
Ngena, a lot of these young people are seeking this advice from family, close family. Is this appropriate? And because really they might want the answers, but then again, we don't see any career fairs, we don't see any mentors coming out to actually sacrifice their time and talk to young people who are transitioning. This is a very, very critical moment for them because it's what will define their future. Is seeking advice from your family, your close family, the best option? Is it the safest option? Are we being guided in the right direction?
I don't think we are, because I think parents or close family have got an emotional attachment to the child. And if my child came and told me, "Mom, I want to be a musician," the first thing I'd be thinking about is like, "Mom, nataka kupumzishwa mzigo wa fees." So I'm thinking of a career, maybe medicine, something that will the student will start earning money quickly and earn good money. So as parents, we start looking at various. I think our generation was really fixated on the big four. I was medicine, law, pharmacy. Yeah, basically, we were really fixated on that. And if your child didn't get into one of those three, you couldn't think outside that box. So we transmit these feelings to our children, because at times we also want to live our dreams through our children. So I'd say that it's important to get maybe professionals to, especially guidance and counseling staff in schools. We have good guidance and counseling staff in schools who can take you through your career choices. We also do that kind of counseling at Bloom Africa, especially when we find someone brings us a CV, and this person did journalism, and then after a few years, after a few months, they did marketing, and then they went into procurement, and they're looking for an admin job. So you're able to guide them through and get them to the right position or where they're supposed to actually be.
But then again, once again, the pressure to have these degrees so that I'll get employed, for instance, at a certain organization that I've really been eyeing, that pressure to get these degrees, and the challenge now on HR to consider other options, because again, these statistics are clearly showing that not a lot of these Form 4 leavers will be transitioning to university. So what are the other options? And to the HR departments across the country, what should they do to consider some of these talents that lie out here that can also be incorporated into the corporate world?
One of the things that is actually happening and is actively happening right now in HR departments or in many organizations that we've worked with is there's a lot of emphasis on mentorship, especially when we are looking at performance management. We're looking at I'm talking about a system we call the Balance Scorecard that has got an emphasis on learning and development, and one of the things they look at very critically is mentorship and skill transfer. So you can get into an organization with probably just a basic skill, and you're guided into a career that you'll find fulfilling or you'll find enjoyable within the organization. Another emphasis is talent audit, and so you're not picking an individual just for the sake of picking them. So there is the basic skill, but then you're also looking at the competencies. What is this person actually able to do over and above the skills that they have acquired? So that is actually actively happening in many organizations, especially as we move into strategic planning or a more strategic way of managing human resource.
So for Joshua and you, Victor, because June cleared earlier than you guys Form 4, that is, there are some must-dos, and for all you Form 4 leavers, there are some must-dos that you have to consider, and this is from our research team, and Gina will be giving her thoughts on this as well. I'll start with you, Joshua. Do you have a national ID? You're 18 years old.
I haven't yet gotten a national ID card.
Why not?
I'm still in the process.
You're still in the process. Okay, it is essential that now that you have finished your Form 4, you're 18 now, so you are an adult, and having a national ID is a must, and Gina will tell you why. To you, Victor, as well, do you have an ID yet?
Not yet, but soon.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't wait anymore. Start the process. You need to apply for your national ID, and for those of you who have finished your Form 4 as well, this is a priority issue. You must get your national ID or start applying for it. Another question, do you have an email address?
I do have an email address.
What's your email address?
joshmang2000@gmail.com.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking that is because you see a lot of, and Gina, I'm sure you will attest to this, you see a lot of emails like, for instance, elmuli@lovable or Joshua@cute. So you have to be very, very careful about how you draft your email address, what your email address is, what your email account actually reads. That's important. Gina will be telling us why. Do you have an email address?
Yes.
What is it?
Victor99mwenda@gmail.com.
Okay. And finally, a bank account. It costs you nothing or almost no coin to open a bank account in many banks in Kenya. You will definitely need it, unless you think you're still a baby. Joshua, do you have a bank account?
I don't have a bank account.
You don't have a bank account. Why not?
Because I haven't yet gotten my ID.
You haven't gotten your ID. Okay, that's good. But then again, you don't really, because I believe, for instance, my son is 7 and he's got a bank account, and therefore you can still be guided to get a bank account with your guardian or your parents' ID. Yeah. What about you?
I had a bank account that is CAB, so now I'm 18. I don't think.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's a good way of saving. So let's talk about these priority areas. The ID, Gina, for Form 4 leavers, the importance of actually holding a national ID.
First, without an ID, you basically can't get employment, because how do we contract someone who doesn't have an ID? So basically, an ID gives you that status. It's a transition into adulthood, and it gives you that status, legal status, to be able to be employed. So even for internships, when we're giving you an internship contract, we'll have to quote your ID number on that contract.
So what you're saying is there's hope for Form 4 leavers who are confused right now with what to do in terms of employment. There's actually hope. You can actually get a job.
Yes, you can. I believe that your career management starts all the way from let me just put it from first form. And why I say that is because over time you start developing a number of skills, a number of social skills that will help you or that will keep you in the job. So we develop two types of skills. We develop the skills that will get you the job, and the skills that will actually keep you in the job. So right from the word go, you start developing leadership skills, which also comes in handy when you're writing your CV. It always looks good when you have been
talking about a CV. Is this too young? These guys are 18. Is this too young to have a CV? And what do you even put in your CV?
A lot of things, like for example, I'd say you can write about your volunteer work in the environmental sector. You can write about the business that you've been carrying out with your parents. You can write about maybe if you were head of drama, head of you had a leadership position in school. Then the other thing is also, when you're looking at managing your career, you're also looking at what you post on social media, what you put on Instagram, what you put on anything that goes into the internet. It's like the internet just absorbs. And sometimes when you're looking for employment, we can just Google your name and find that you had a very strong position on a very controversial issue, and that can actually affect your career progression.
So social media, guys, that's a conversation we'll be having another day. But let's get to the email address. A lot of people have them, or choose to have them for friendly purposes, keeping in touch with friends after high school. But how important is an email address?
Very important, and especially an email address that is simple, not too long, and an email address that's actually working. Because a lot of times when we are responding to you, we'll just click on the email address and it opens a page and we respond to you. So an email address is important for correspondence.
And of course the bank account is, because if you do get a job, you intend to get paid, and the employer needs to know where they can pay you. So I'll get the parting remarks from my panelists here. Now to you, just the must-dos for these Form 4 leavers right now, the critical things that their parents need to be thinking about, that they need to be thinking about. December is over now, but then a lot of them are still going to find themselves, getting caught up in that time where they're off school, so it's time to experiment with a lot of things and have a lot of fun. Fun is fine. They've been in school for a long time. But in this transition period, your parting remarks on the must-dos for them.
I think critically start thinking about your career, and not in terms of, not necessarily from the angle of employment, but also from the angle of self-employment. And even as you think about maybe your journalism, or you're thinking about your medicine, you should be looking at a future where at some point you can also become an employer. So it's very, very important to look at from that angle. Then also start thinking about something that you enjoy doing. Because when you take a career that you actually enjoy, you excel in it. And look at your talents. Think about your talents. I think it's Eric Omondi who once said that siku hizi talanta inalipa. And it's so true that if you can develop your talents to a point where your talent becomes your job, I think that would be...
But I mean, the parents are not being supportive talent-wise, because I tell my mom, I tell my dad I want to be a DJ, and they look at me like, not me, but I mean, I've had people say, I want to be a DJ, this is what I want to do, or I want to, not just DJing, but there's a lot of things that parents are really against, that don't take them seriously. So for the parents as well, the challenge to them to actually support their children in the direction of their dreams.
I think parents need to be a bit more open And I'm also speaking to myself. We need to also start maybe stop living our dreams through our children. Yeah. If you wanted to become a doctor, not everybody can become a doctor. If you wanted to what the career that you wanted to be, don't force it on your children.
Right. Yeah. Joshua, to you now. Somebody here is saying that they're finding themselves in the same situation with you, but they're considering repeating. Would that be an option for you, considering to repeat Form 4 so that you get that grade that is needed to actually get to where you want to be, which is medicine?
I had thought of the same, but I consider it more a burden than you'd rather remain with what you have than going back to school. There are people who've gone back to school and dropped rather than improving. You hear of cases where people get so disappointed.
Yeah, that's true. So for you, this period now, between now and when you make up your mind or get admitted into a university, what will you be engaging in? You said you want to start computers and driving as well. Aside from that, towards the realization of your dream, having listened to what the HR consultant here has talked about, what would be your priority areas?
By I think June, because by June I'll be done with my computer and driving. I could do community service in, of course, a hospital. Yes, that will help in building me.
Very well said. Back to you very quickly, Ngina, volunteering as opposed to actually getting a little bit of a token or pay. We know interns who quit because they're not getting paid. So volunteering, does that also serve to your advantage in the long term when it comes to applying for jobs after university or even before?
Yes, actually volunteering shows a strength that according to what the market thinks nowadays is they feel that there are certain strengths that are lacking in the generation that we have today. And when you have someone who's actually willing to volunteer, who's actually willing to go and work and not earn anything for it, it's a big plus as far as building the individual and also building their career is concerned.
It's a big plus. Victor, there's a message here for you. Stephen Otidi, I like the idea that Victor has about owning a camera, but that side is so congested. I have a camera which I'm selling. Okay, so this is not to to bash your dreams, but here is a young man who has tried to go this route. He's tried and he's saying for him it's not working, and this is the harsh reality, guys. You're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of closed doors before one actually opens for you. How do you plan to deal with being told, no, this industry is saturated, everybody is doing camera, so what makes you think you're going to be better than everybody else? How do you plan to deal with those disappointments? Because you need to be prepared for them. And should this idea not work for you, what else do you have? What's in your thinking plan? What are you thinking about? Share with us, because it could encourage somebody else at home. If this doesn't work, then what?
Okay, one thing about photography, I want to be my own boss. So I'm not, okay, I want employment, but I'm not really into somebody employing me. So mine was an idea. Okay, take good pictures, nature, just good pictures. You can make portraits for people at a good price. You can attend festivals and gigs and just like photo shoots.
Yeah.
And then
so
at
for
a
you,
price,
you've chosen from this early age not to be employed. Why?
You know, people are saying a lot of things, and then there's this thing of the akuna employment. You see, then I chose to, okay, if I get employed, it's okay. But what if I become my own boss?
Yeah, even better.
Yeah, it can be better.
Okay, well said. And for you, June, because you're older than these guys, you've been on the ground, you've gone through the hard times and the good times. What would you tell these guys who are sitting at home and thinking they have a lot of time? They're thinking, no, I'm not in a hurry. I'm going to go to campus like in September or October or whatever. What are the lessons that you've drawn out of this experience after Form 4, and what would be your words of advice to them?
I would say this: there is never time there's no time at all. Like if you want to do something and you're serious about doing that thing, then you don't have time. You have to run after it. It's a goal that you're setting. Remember, you have to achieve that goal. And you can't just wait for the goal to come here and then it is going to achieve itself. No. You have to run after it. There's no time to sleep, honestly. You have to go there, make everyone see that you're doing something. You're not doing it for anyone, you're doing it for yourself. Because a time will come and then there will be no one to support you. You'll be on your own. You'll be out there in the world, and everyone has things to say, bad things to say, good things to say. You're going to meet different people. And if you're passionate about that thing, just go for it. Don't waste time and say, I'll do this tomorrow, let me do this next week. No, that doesn't work at all.
The time is now. I want to read your comments as we start to close. Somebody is saying, hi Lillian, I'm Rispa. I got a D+. Can I get good courses? And how? Somebody saying, I'm Stephen Otidi. Okay, that was for you, Victor. Somebody is saying, I want to do hospitality and management, but my grade is not good. I scored a D-. The courses for that grade are not that good. I want to do beauty. Can I still pursue hospitality and management with that grade? Please help me. So, Ngena, as you're hearing, a lot of the Form 4 leavers are saying they did not attain the required grade. Somebody saying, is repeating Form 4 a good choice? Somebody is saying students need post-counseling after KCSE. They are mentally, psychologically tortured and from poor backgrounds, cannot even think along the said life after KCSE. Girls will fall into the hands of sugar daddies. Citizen TV asked the panelists life after KCSE for those who scored a mean grade of D and below who are over 400,000. This is Vincent from Baringo. And finally, before we take your tweets, I'm a Form 4 leaver, got a B, and would like to do business. Which is best among this, and what are you guys thinking about management, administration, and procurement? Okay, so let's get your tweets as well. Let's listen to what you have to say. Let's see what you have to say. Nelson, I strongly suggest a short-term leadership management course that would build up a super informed society. Okay, that's Nelson. Bravo, I love the energy and focus of these students. Keep up the spirit, guys. Mark, you're saying, I cleared Form 4 in 2016. I've been teaching at a secondary school, doing online business and rearing animals at Sheep and Chicken while waiting to join university in February. Good one. Pazari, you're saying, my church and most others I know have programs to engage Form 4 leavers. They can also seek opportunities to volunteer in community projects or organizations. And Ambassador Stephen Bogo is saying this is ample time for the Form 4 leavers to work on their talents as well as pursue such skills like driving. Okay, guys, so you have the answers right here. Don't waste any more time. You've had about these young guys, and actually you guys, I must thank you. These are guys who engaged with me on my social media platform. That's on Instagram. They were willing to come to studio, they were willing to learn, and they were willing to answer our questions here in studio. So you guys are in the right direction. You certainly are in the right direction. I believe you will do well, and all the very best. Joshua, thank you very much for coming to studio. I hope you'll treat me someday. I hope you'll be the future Dr. Joshua Ndirango. We're also joined by Victor Mwenda. All systems go for you with the